Sometimes it's going to be the worst because everything is evolving, everything is growing, even technology. But the one thing that remains is consistency. Consistency. You gotta be consistent in order to have any type of success. That's what I think, but who am I? Oh, man. Welcome. Mark, we good, sir? Thumbs up, my dog. Appreciate you. Here we are, guys. We're here again. With all due respect, right? It's been an interesting few days. Just to be honest, guys, when I do the podcast, I have some ideas in mind when I come to talk about this stuff, and I have some data usually behind everything that I'm saying, if not everything. Some of that will probably be subjective stuff, but I try to be just fluid and honest and forthcoming as I can be with what I know, because just coming up, I think information is what we lacked, and the application of it is definitely what we didn't have the tools to do. We didn't have those tools to understand, and I think it was because of consistency, honestly. Consistency just in my own personal life, just to be honest with you. I saw consistency in my mother, single black moms who honestly, it was like, yo, I'm going to do the best I can to raise this young man, as a man. But as a woman, I mean, what can she do but put models in my face of men or people that she trusts, right? To instill in me whatever that is. But I didn't have, unfortunately, consistency on my father's side. Rest in heaven, Pops. No ill will there. It's just he didn't have some of those tools, I believe now, as I look back, to know how to be consistent. Because I believe in his own upbringing, there was some distance there. But it's not a pity party. It's one of those things where life is life. And I just want you to always know who you're getting. But today, I did want to touch on the topic of consistency and how that's played a real big part, I think, in just success in general, whether it be personal or business, but also I think in just personal growth. Consistency has been, I think, the main thing that has allowed me, I believe, to even be here speaking with you right now. So, as I've always said, this is an honor for me, and I don't take it lightly. So. We're gonna always be deep here. We're gonna go below the surface. We're not gonna stay surface level with this stuff, because that is what I believe we're lacking in our community, is just really those deeper connections. And I hope that I can model that here through these conversations. So consistency, that has always been hard for people, I believe. I just think in general, our brains are wired for ease and for comfort. So consistency sometimes means hard work, right? It means doing things you don't want to do. And that means coming out of that feeling center of your mind and your spirit and going into that cerebral part, that action oriented part. That's hard to do if you don't have the tools that we're talking about here. And that's a community or a mentor or somebody who can show you, hey, this is a different way to do things. This is a way to be consistent. This is a way to set up processes to help you. Because I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I mean, the only way that I've been able to be consistent and actually be here right now is having accountability partners. Whether it be my wife, whether it be my team. You know what I'm saying? Mark you, bro. Shout out. I mean, you're hearing me loud and clear, crispy because of his behind the scenes work. So you see what I'm saying? Like you gotta have that team of people or a person that you trust that's gonna tell you the truth, even when you don't want to hear it. Because I know I don't want to hear the truth sometimes, and that's okay. Like we have to realize that that's part of the life journey. You're gonna struggle sometimes, but consistency, guys. Why did I start off with that? When putting this podcast together, I mean, there's things that happen in our lives, right? Like I have 3 boys, and I'm trying to raise and help raise. I mean, one is older. He's on his journey, which once again, consistency. Thank God for that. We've been able to be there as parents. My wife and I, to help raise him to be, to become the man he wants to become. And I can tell you with great pride, and not to boast on our parenting or anything like that, just that we had to be consistent in some of the things that we had to do, and just making sure he didn't go off the rails. And as kids do in their teenage years, they're rebellious sometimes, and we stay consistent with what we had to do. And I think now we're able to look back and reflect and say, thank you for making those decisions, younger self. And that's just only just being consistent, honestly, and having people in your life to, to check you and say, hey, you can do things a little bit differently. So for most of you, you've been with me on this journey for a while, but if you're new to this and you're a new listener, I'm a certified Jay Shetty certified life coach. That's one of my specialties. But I'm also an engineer. I'm also a degreed engineer. I got my electrical engineering degree in '04 from the Illinois Institute of Technology, and a few other accreditations along the way. And I don't want to spend time just dwelling on that. But what I do want you guys to always know is honestly who you're getting and why this is important, not only to me, but just for the work that I enjoy doing, which is just helping people realize their true potential and helping people get to a level in their life where they're comfortable with who they are, right? I can honestly say I didn't have that a lot growing up. I didn't understand what I really wanted to do and really what I wanted to be. But there was something that I know was in the back of my spirit that was telling me and guiding me. And you guys know you have that in you, right? That's your intuition. And we talk a little bit about that, especially in the coaching space of really what is intuition and how does that play into, bringing out the best version of yourself always, because there's always going to be these voices in the back of your head, this noise. I think it was a stat that said we have like 80,000 or maybe even upwards to 800,000 thoughts a day. Like, don't quote me. You can move the decimal point if you want each way. But there's a lot of damn thoughts that go through our head, and about 80% of those are just allopated drivel, which is just crap, right? And so how do we filter out the noise from the internal intuition that we have? And that has to be taught. That has to be harnessed. And that's what I'm saying as far as having that person in your life that you can talk to, that mentor, that coach, that person that you can look up to. And not in a sycophantic way. Like, we're not talking like this person can do no wrong. We're talking, this person is vulnerable and showing you the ins and outs of what's going on, the front end, the back end of things for you devs out there, right? For the nerds that I love so much. Like, it comes down to developing that intuition, and that consistency comes as well with that when you're able to really tap into that internal voice. And I can't say that I had that always in my intuition, right? I can't say that I knew what that was. But speaking on the subject of consistency, I had to understand that it was going to take work. And the reason I started this podcast is to really help those, I think, who maybe were like me, that were struggling with maybe some of that imposter syndrome of, well, I'm not worthy to be here, wherever you are in your life, right? Like, I'm not worthy to be happy every day, or we have these limiting thoughts and limiting beliefs. But the thing is, we can push past that, right, with the right mindset. And so that is, what I hope to have here is these practical steps. And I'll start off with kind of what I do for my own personal consistency and meaning being here at this moment. I talk to my team and I say, if we're going to do this podcast, like, how do I want it to be? Like, is it going to be a weekly thing? Is it going to be a daily thing? Or is it going to be a monthly? I just, my process dictates that I be open to all possibilities. Okay. So that's the first step of wanting to be consistent. You got to know in your mind that there's going to be days where it's just not going to go according to plan. Right. But if you don't have a plan or some type of governance internally, right? Because it can't be measured by external means. Like, I can't go mark you, bruh, you got to call me every Tuesday to let me know I need to be ready tomorrow to go. No, I can't. That's not, that type of governance is never going to be sustainable. You have to develop it within. And so what I'm saying is, know that there's going to be struggle, there's going to be heartache, but you just push through it. So the first step is knowing that if you don't put a plan together, then there's no way you can stay consistent. All right. So if you got a pen and paper, please write this down. If you don't have some type of plan, some type of cadence you're working to accomplish whatever goal you have, then you'll never get there. Now, let me not say never, because I do stay open-minded, but it'll be very difficult for you to, I think, achieve that level of success that you want without being aware that it's going to be tough. It's going to require some hard work. But if you don't have a plan for you that's going to work for you in that season, then it's going to be very difficult to stay consistent, right, in whatever you're doing. So let me add on to that as well. So if I could add another step to that, is once you have that plan, is making sure that plan is realistic, right? Okay, so we can go down this list of what we call SMART goals, right? Which is an acronym for being specific. That's the S. M, measurable, right? We talk about being measurable. A is it actually attainable or achievable? Okay. R, being realistic. Okay, you can be realistic or relative to you. And time, right? T, time bound. You got to set a time for this. You can't just go, I'll do it whenever. Oh, I'll do it when I get to it. You need to set something specific, like, hey, there we go. I want to start a podcast. Okay. Can I measure that? Yeah, I can measure that. Now, I'm going to measure that with what? I'm going to measure if I can produce a podcast a month, then I know that I'm on the right path. Okay, that's my measurement. Is it attainable, achievable? Absolutely. If you're listening to this right now, right? Like, I'm just using this as an example. This is very achievable. If you had a podcast in mind that you're looking to start, go do that. It is definitely achievable, right? Realistic? I think it's realistic. We're having a conversation right now. Or maybe I'm having a monologue and you're listening, but hopefully that's sparking some internal dialogue that you can hone in on and start to kind of just get that limiting belief out of your system. Like, just get that out. You can do it. If you're listening to this podcast, I'm trying to tell you, I never thought I would be here doing this until I changed my mindset. And I'm not going to forget the T. The T is that time, right? And for me, I said, I want to do it every month. Okay. I want to at least get one show out a month. Okay. I don't think that's hard to do if you are realistic and if you set that schedule, that intentionality for yourself. And bro, I don't know how many we've done. Like, this will come out at some point, right? I'm going to be real. I'm batching these. I'm not doing every day. I can't. I have a family. So if you're hearing this, this is probably one of many that I've done and I'm going to do, but I'm going to keep it pretty open-minded and pretty, straightforward. So it's timeless. But if you don't set that intention, right, those SMART goals, then there's no way that you can stay consistent, that I believe in. At this level in my life, in this juncture, you got to set some boundaries for yourself. Because as humans, we're just predisposed to wanting to be comfortable and do things just kind of half-ass, if you will, right? But you know, when you give your all, then you leave it on the proverbial field. You know that you feel so much more at peace with yourself. So I don't want to make it more complicated than that, guys. I think we talk about definitely setting a plan for yourself, right? Whatever that looks like for you, and setting it smartly, smart goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time bound, right? And I think that we try to make it so much more complicated, and it's not. Once we take out some of those complications in our minds that we've been fed for years, you know, whether it's parents or media or just whatever those sources that were not, I don't want to say pure, but just didn't have the right intention behind it. You got to get those out of your mind and realize you can achieve whatever you put your mind to and put your energy to. That energy is crucial, right? We're spending time here. You're spending energy here, receiving, hopefully, some of these words here. And please, if it's something that you guys want me to discuss, please, send me some feedback. I'll have the information in the show notes. So consistency definitely is something that I've struggled with, but through coaching, through accountability, through just being honest with myself, and hopefully you're being honest with yourself along your journey, I've been able to, I think, stay a little bit more consistent than I was in my previous years. And I think that if you're listening to this podcast right now, if you're listening to this and you're wondering, how can I achieve this level of success? I urge you to just reach out to me, please, and just let's have a chat. Let's have a discovery call and see what's possible. All right. I'll leave that information as well in the show notes for you guys. But you can catch me on IG at Seance. That's SAYAHNCE. And my mindset coaching is there as well. So that's bite-sized coaching and consulting. Please come check me out, guys. As always, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here. And I'm going to give you guys more of, just these lessons. And if they're resonating with you, please, just tap in. I'm going to honestly do the best I can to keep you guys updated on what's happening and just some of the things that I'm taking my clients through, some of the things that I've just experienced in my own, life on this earth. And, hopefully it can help you along the way. So thank you guys once again for allowing me to be here with you and present with you, and know that you can achieve it, honestly, if you believe it first. And then you have to put that work in. You have to put the work in. Nothing comes easy. Nothing comes easy, guys. All right. If you're listening to this, I don't know where you're at in your life, but I'm sure there's some struggle there. I know there's some struggle here. But what we can do is we can get through it with the right mindset. And if you're struggling with your mindset, if there's anything, whether it be parenting, whether it be, sports, I can't perform like I used to at a high level. Like, these are all things that are probably mindset related. And so listen to that intuition, listen to that inner spirit that you have, and don't be afraid to go deep. Don't be afraid to make those connections that you need to make to get to where you want to go, guys. All right. Appreciate you tuning in. Allan